Ask to give us the we're online. Good. All right. Welcome to our regular council meeting for Monday, March the 24th. And before we start, if you are able, I would just ask that you please stand and join us for that flag. We would like to begin by respectfully acknowledging that the town of Shelburne resides within the traditional territory and ancestral lands of the Anishinaabe, including the Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Chippewa, and the people of the Three Fires Confederacy. These traditional territories upon which we live, work, play, and learn are steeped in rich Indigenous history and traditions, and it is with this statement that we declare to honor and respect the past and present connection of Indigenous peoples with this land, its waterways and resources. So a standard reminder for members to declare any peculiar interest they may have relative to any of tonight's agenda items. Don't see any. On to our minutes from the March 10th meeting. Can I have a motion to adopt those minutes as circulated? Mr. Fegan, second by Councilor Donato. Any questions on those? All in favor? Carried. All right, public question period. Nothing submitted. Okay. All right, we do have some guests this evening. So we have our friends from the Dufferin Highland Bruce Trail Club. Don Stewart, sorry, I didn't catch.
John Dickinson.
John Dickinson. All right, well, welcome, gentlemen. I will turn it over to you and you can walk us through your presentation. Wonderful.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. Probably I'm thinking either to reintroduce some of you, but to introduce other people to the Bruce Trail Conservancy in general, and the Dufferin Highland Bruce Trail Club in particular, which is the club for this general area, the specific area here. Our purpose, requested meeting, is to introduce who we are, but then explore ideas of how we can help you with the people and your plans with Shelburne and the surrounding area. So yeah, I'm going to start by giving a brief history of the Conservancy and the club, and then John will talk some more specifics of what we're currently doing. So in 1959, a fellow by the name of Ray Lowes had a discussion with a vision for a footpath along the Niagara Peninsula, and he discussed it with his friend Robert Waite, who was obviously a great painter. And that was at a meeting of the Federation of the Ontario Naturalists back in 1959. In September of 1960, the four founding members got together and started discussing how to promote the Niagara Escarpment. So in 1962, the four guys got together and went door knocking and town knocking to express the idea with people and just see what the general reception would be. They were overwhelmed by the response they got both from individual landowners and from the townships and towns in the area. So they continued to work on that vision. From 1962 to 1966, Bruce Trail Clubs, there's 9 of those. So when they developed the trail itself, they divided it up into 9 sections so that each section would take care of the maintenance and the management of the sections. And that included landowner approvals and landowner agreements, and whenever possible to purchase properties. In 1963, the Bruce Trail Association was incorporated. It was renamed the Bruce Trail Conservancy in 2007. In 1965, a fellow by the name of Audrey Diem, he handled the compilation of the very first guidebook, which is available now, and it covers everything you need to know about the Bruce Trail from end to end. And as Canada 1967 centennial was approaching, they wanted to open the trail in the centennial year. So on June 10th, the cairn at the northern end of the Bruce Trail was unveiled, and the trail was officially opened in the centennial year. Since its inception, the purpose of the trail has always been to inspire recreation and conservancy and conservation. So today, the Bruce Trail stretches 900 kilometers from Niagara Falls to Tobermory, which makes it Canada's longest continuously marked trail, right here in our own backyard. And there's also another 400 kilometers of side trails for a total of 1,300 kilometers within the trails. We now have over 19,000 acres that we've been able to purchase and conserve forever. Lands are protected and preserved and can't be touched. So it's, we're trying, I think that represents about 70% of trail now. So we still have areas where we're looking to get landowner agreements and or some securements if we can. It is designated as a UNESCO Biosphere Heritage Site, so that gives it extra sensitivity because of all the species at risk and the biodiversity that we're protecting throughout Ontario. And Dufferin Highland Bruce Trail Club is the local volunteer-based club. We manage and maintain the section from Mono Center in the south to Lavender in the north, and all this areas between there. This year, 2025, is our 60th anniversary, so we're looking forward to celebrating that. And the mission of the Conservancy is to preserve a ribbon of wilderness for everyone forever. So that gives you a quick little history of who we are, why we're here. Take it away, John.
Okay, so that's how we started. Where we are today is quite different from where we were when we first started. But the reason for the trail originally was to highlight the Niagara Escarpment. And the reason that that's so important, of all the UNESCO sites in Canada, and I think there's 10 of them now, 9 at least, we are the most diverse of all of them anywhere else in Canada, both floral, fauna, and geologically as well. And the trail was put in to highlight the sensitivity of that incredible diversity of nature. It became remarkably successful as a hiking trail. And everybody said, oh, yeah, it's the BT, the Bruce Trail. And about, I suppose, about less than 10 years ago, I was on the main board at the time. We were looking to try and rekindle the concept of conservation. The name had been changed to Conservancy, but they were talking about it as a land conservancy. Today, it's really a land conservancy, and yes, we do buy land, and we have funds set aside to ensure that the land can be kept in perpetuity, but also it's a nature conservancy. And the significant shift that's really happening at this point is not away from hiking, which is going to be forever a really important thing, but it's about protecting and bringing back the lands to a state of nature conservancy. Not the way it was in the past, but how to protect it from future challenges. So to give you a sense of what that means is when we talk about biodiversity and biodiversity protection, we're referring to the most sensitive part of a forest is called the interior forest. Of all of the lands that Ontario has lost, since our development, when we as the white people came, what's happened is we've lost more central forest than anything else. But why that's important is because that is the area where things are most protected. First 500 feet of forest land is the most susceptible to all of the things that are going to go wrong. And what we're looking for is to create that corridor that's deeply protected. So that's the basic concept. The other thing that we've looked at that is significantly different is that we are a part of a major community, not just in terms of nature conservancy, but we're a part of a community that is a community of trails. And so, for example, the World Trails Organization, the Bruce Trail Conservancy chairs it and now has it at the headquarters of the Bruce Trail Conservancy. And they see the trails around the world as communities. So yes, there's the hikers and the guys with the shovels and the spades and all of that, and all of the other people who are out there working to remove invasive species and repopulate. But it's also the people in the communities around. And what we're trying to do at this point is focus on developing relationships outside of the historical hiking the trail, buying and maintaining it. And so that's one of the reasons that we're here today. What we offer is a broad range of activities and events that attract people to the area and also engage local citizens. I'll give you an example of some of them. If you're a hiker, then we have 1 day, 2 day end-to-ends, and you can have 100 people running this trail in 50 kilometers in a single day. But there's also, for example, this summer, 3 weekends around the summer solstice, we have the Solstice Festival. And it's an entirely different concept. It's designed to introduce you as a non-hiker, as a walker, someone who really doesn't get out into nature very often, to the biodiversity, the nature, forest bathing, the geo sense of it. And this year we're going to have on National Heritage Day, Indigenous Heritage Day, we're going to have a water hike that's going to be brought in and we're going to manage that. So there's about 8 of these different events that go on. We publicize them, and we know because people come from as far that we bring people into the local community to stay at bed and breakfast and stuff in the area. But what we're interested in is what could we be doing more to engage and to help Sheldon, one of our major towns we have in our area, to assist in any way we have. We have lands, we have all sorts of resources in terms of biologists, land conservation, and land restoration support staff. We have volunteers, 400 or 500 people who are actually involved with the club, all in 55 kilometers. And we're wondering, how do we become a better part of your community? What should we be doing to help you? We're moving in the direction. We're quite excited, but it's the community that's excited. So that's why we're here today.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you. A little over 5 years ago, we had a presentation just before COVID. It was 2 or 3 months before COVID from the 2000 Highland Club. And at that point, they were looking at hosting a Shelburne Day. on the trail, and I'm not sure if you.
Yes, I'm aware of it.
Okay. Unfortunately, a couple months after that presentation, the world went into lockdown and it didn't happen. From what I recall, I think the rationale behind that was, Shelburne has seen a lot of new residents move into the area who may have some general awareness of the existence of the trail, but may not be as familiar with it as some of those of us who grew up in there. And it was a way to just sort of, with open arms, welcome people from the Shelburne community out, on a certain day with some guides that could show them around the trails. That might be something that, is
We do that.
relatively easy to pull together, and I think,
Yes.
From our perspective, in terms of advertising and coordinating that, we'd be more than happy to do that. Beyond that, I think we can probably look at a few different.
So we've taken the position with our Parks and Rec master plan that trail connectivity is critical. And it's also part of an economic development strategy. So as the mayor said, if there was a Shelburne Day, what we want to do is show people that if there's opportunities to come off more established Bruce Trail and venture into those small towns that support them with respect to restaurants or other services, that's a driver. It also helps us create, you said bed and breakfast, which we don't have a lot of, but there's other accommodations in the area. That connectivity and the places to stop. Additionally, we're doing a major redevelopment of Fiddle Park. So there may be elements of that for you to share information as well as for us to keep involved, to profile what you have to offer, to educate people. And then when the parts of the park that were ever going to be developed, there was a consideration of landfill, were the two ecologically sensitive areas which accommodate probably about 30 acres on the end. So there's bog and water, and there's probably a lot of sensitivities with respect to the ecosystems of those parcels that we've never really had enough chance to examine and do research on. So that's another partnership that we could potentially look at. We know that when we looked at it, there's no capacity to put trails on ground just because of the wetness. And there had to have been a boardwalk-like structure, which I know, and again, as a hiker, but not a huge hiker, but I certainly in this area, know that on the trail, there's elements of bird trails that have to be boarded in terms of boardwalk-like structure for you to portage, but get over that area. So certainly there's wonderful opportunities for us to work with you, including, I know it's not the Bruce Trail or whatever, it's not maybe as ecologically sensitive, but the rail trail is also a major connector between two communities, Shelburne along to Orangeville, taking you to Island Lake. So there might be some synergies there as well to tie this all together.
Okay.
So yeah, it's an exciting opportunity. Trails are so important to alternate transportation and outdoor recreation in a healthy community.
Good.
Free.
Yes,
Yes, exactly,
exactly.
yeah. Well, so we're looking at hard surfacing the majority of our existing trails, not that you are, but the reason we're looking at that is to ensure that there's accessibility year round and that people can use them for more than just walking, they can use them for biking and moving. So if we also support that, like to the mayor's point, there's a lot of people that live here that are new that may not have an awareness of this, and it becomes actually a huge tractor why you choose Shelburne or you choose any community in Dufferin County. Yeah, thank you. So staff will follow up with you, and we can maybe set up another meeting just to review some opportunities and let us know we'll let you know what we're doing, and then we can share information on your initiative.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
we can get into details.
Yeah, we can get to the minutia.
Yes. That's how it gets done.
I'm also thinking too, I mean, if we were to do something in advance of the Shelburne Day on trails, but maybe have a public information session. Yeah, we can have it out here at home, just as a bit of an initial introduction to the Bruce Trail, and then a week or so later have the actual trail day. But it gives some people an early introduction to what it's all about, and then an easy invite to slide from there at the trail.
Yeah, that big screen process, if you had a video, that's another great alternative to show some actual footage to engage people.
As you go to the Multnomah Township site, we're on that.
Yeah.
As well, by video. Yes, that sounds great.
One thing you can tell the people is, you've had a busy week traveling back and forth between wherever you work and home, because we're a commuter town, basically.
Right.
You want to relax your mind? Take the Bruce Trail.
Yeah.
You will always relax when you're out there. You will be in a different world, you will forget your troubles, and you will enjoy and refresh yourself once again.
As kids nowadays say, touch grass.
Exactly, yeah.
One of the things that Dawn was going to mention, but I'm going to do something here quickly, is that we have a whole series of what are called forest bathing hikes, or walks. Basically, they are very slow, quiet walks, talk, and it's an introspective and reflective time. They usually last around about 3 hours, very short period, and they are incredibly popular as a way of doing. In fact, to the point where doctors are actually writing prescriptions. So yeah, you're absolutely right. And
Well,
it's
I've done it enough times. I
Yeah.
used to walk out there. That was my place. To get away from all the hustle and bustle of the world. So, trail. Wow.
Yes.
And I think it's a good idea to maybe note some of the trails that are around here that can be used for specific activities as well, so people will know, okay, this trail might be a little bit more rough, so I can't take my cross-country skis there, right? But yeah, well, or that, yeah, you have to have one of those hiker things that I actually had for my babies when we would go hiking. Yeah, just so like you can almost identify, right? Like, I mean, Kilgore is amazing, right? You've got that old power plant there. It's ruins, so it's nostalgic and historic and beautiful. You've got the river, right? So, you can't, you might be able to snowshoe maybe in the winter there, but there's a lot of, mixed use terrain there, so it's not something that you could, use for cross-country skiing, but maybe there is a trail that is, right? And that would be kind of cool to know if there was, for season use, right? And then we could just sort of, maybe have a little flyer or something, or even at the information night, we could say like, hey, here's some of these trails that are around us, and here's the best use of them, right? Or the best activity that you could do within that trail.
Okay.
And then that really helps people know, where they are and what they can do while they're there.
We have given you, this is the local map, I think.
You've got, so the green folders, you'll see that they're available now in, I think it's 5 different languages. So we know we've got a new community growing everywhere along the track. So we've put it into as many languages now. There'll be more coming out as well. But on the back of it is the Bruce Trail from end to end.
Yeah, that's awesome.
On the inside. But the white map is Bruce is the Dufferin Highlands specifically, so it's a little more detailed.
Perfect.
It is primarily, for the most part, it's not friendly for bicycling or strollers.
Yeah.
It's Dufferin Highlands.
Yeah.
Hills and valleys, and beautiful hills and valleys too, so. But it is, it gives you an idea of where the trail runs. The map is a little bit out of date. There have been a couple of changes, but the trail, Bruce Trail again, is the longest continuously marked. So once you know the trail signs, how to follow them, take on the new parts without any problems.
Maybe, you got them, perfect. I was just gonna say, maybe you should have
Yes.
flipped it over and it's already there. Cause I sometimes I think I've got them. I've got them.
This ends.
I'm good. Yeah. I was actually looking at a photo or something in here and I was like, oh, that means go to the right.
All right, any other thoughts? No? Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for doing it.
Who's gonna call who?
We have your contact information for
Okay.
your delegation request, we'll follow up.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
We look forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. Thank you, okay.
Thank you for your time.
Yes. And purchase the merchandise, people. Okay? It supports. It supports. Plus it's cool.
Thanks again.
Thank you. All right, so next we have a proclamation for Autism Awareness Month. So we'll also be doing a flag raising for autism awareness, and that will be held on Tuesday, April the 2nd at 10 a.m. Across the street at Jack Downing Park. And with that, we will read the proclamation. Whereas autism impacts more than 135,000 individuals in Ontario, representing 1 in every 50 Canadian children and youth, it not only influences the lives of autistics, but also their friends, families, and communities. It's crucial for us to raise awareness and acceptance, provide support, and promote a more inclusive society. And whereas autism is a diverse spectrum that varies widely among individuals, each person's experience with autism can change over time. This evolving journey highlights the uniqueness of every autistic individual, emphasizing the need for understanding and support tailored to their specific needs. And whereas, while there is no cure for autism, it is well documented that if individuals with autism receive early and intensive treatment throughout their lives, they lead significantly improved lives. And whereas individuals with autism often require a lifetime of specialized and community support services to ensure their health and safety, and to support families' resilience as they manage the psychological and financial burdens autism can present. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Wade Mills, on behalf of Council, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2025 as Autism Awareness Day in the town of Shelburne, and urge all residents to participate in autism awareness activities in order to become better educated about autism and create a better community for individuals and families affected by autism. So again, that is April 2nd at 10 a.m. That's a Tuesday. So you can. Is it?
April.
April 1st, we'll double check.
April 2nd.
April 2nd is Wednesday.
Wednesday, April the 2nd? Yeah. Okay.
Don't break me out, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, you won't miss your flight.
Don't miss my flight.
April Fools.
Right?
Okay. Wednesday, April the 2nd at 10 a.m. All right, any council inquiries for this evening? Nothing, okay. All right. On to our reports. We only have 2 reports on the agenda tonight. The first report is from our Director of Development and Operations regarding our Ontario Clean Water Agency Schedule 22 summary report for 2024. This is the annual drinking water system report we received. So Jim, if you can kind of give us some of the highlights.
Sure. Through your worship, it's that time of year again where our obligations under Regulation 17003, Schedule 22, requires that we have the summary report submitted to us by the Ontario Clean Water Agency. Jenna is present tonight. If you have any questions a little later. They must be prepared by March 31st and submitted to council, have a council resolution that we received it to satisfy the requirements. They are separate from the annual reports, which are under section 11 of the same regulation. The Ontario Clean Water Agency is our operating authority for the town of Shelburne, with the town performing maintenance and repairs in the distribution system, customer inquiries after hour calls, that sort of thing. Appendix 1 is the summary report and covers from January 1st to December 31st of 2024. And fulfills the requirements for the reporting year. The requirements of this are the report must show quantities and flow rates of water supplied during the year, including monthly averages, maximum daily flows. These are compared with our various permits that we have, like our environmental compliance approval, permits to take water, our drinking water works permit, and is created to ensure compliance with associated regulations, to make sure that we're in compliance with everything. Copies of the summary report and annual reports must be available to the public free of charge. We do have them also available as of tomorrow morning. They will be up on our website as well for anybody. The summary reports were submitted by Aqua on February 24th, 2025. As well, the town Aqua reviewed by SAI Global for renewal of our certificate of accreditation to operate the water system in early 2022. A new certificate was issued April 26, 2022, with our next review underway currently, due very shortly. So, the annual inspection for the water systems took place by the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, and was conducted April 4th, 2024, and we received a final inspection rating on June 15th of 99.24%. This does put us in compliance with Regulation 170.03. Consultations were with a number of people at the Ontario Clean Water Agency as well as Jennifer herself. This does align with Council's priorities and target SP2, investing in critical infrastructure and services for the future, and SP4 to support environmental sustainability. Any questions? Yes, available to us.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Any questions for Jim or John?
Richard. 1, 2, and 3, when are we expecting them back online?
Wells 1, 2, and 3. Well 1, it does need more work to be done to it yet, so it has an RFP that's coming out very shortly for our chlorine contact tank that's out front. We do have to upgrade our hydro service that is now unsupported by Hydro 1 as well. So that's happening in the next month or so as well. Well 2 was abandoned some years ago, so it is out of the picture. It did run through well 1 pump house. Well 3, and Jen will have more information on that, is just about ready to go back online or just has. So it's a few minor things that had to be worked out there. But we finally pretty much got it, I think, now.
So well 3 is online again?
It is not quite yet, we're just working out a few bugs.
Just working out some bugs, so when can we expect it online?
That would be a better question for the engineers.
Thought I had that right.
They like us.
You okay, Jennifer?
Did it hit you?
Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So like buckle.
Leg buckled.
Never a dull moment at Shelburne Council.
Too much excitement.
Nothing mine. Still one piece, you didn't bring that.
Woo! You already got a case on it, so. Nice. Wow.
There.
Recover.
All right, pretty short, and it's left all.
All right.
Back online.
I was like, oh no, it's gone.
So next time we see the engineer, you say, ask him the question.
We did have a bit of a glitch there last week, I believe, with the SCADA system, so that's triggered on the outside, so we do have to get the SCADA person back in just to evaluate that, to see what's not working exactly properly here, and then we should be good to go.
So it's just a SCADA system holding us up.
Yeah, I believe everything else we got pretty worked out here.
I was just gonna clarify that when you said there were a few bugs to work out, it's not bugs in the water, but
No.
technical bugs.
Probably clear.
Yeah.
Words matter.
Yeah.
And well, one will be somewhere down the line this year.
Yes, that is the hope. Get the chlorine contact tank out of the way, a couple other things there with hydro service. That is also does need a SCADA upgrade as well. That SCADA upgrade for the water system and that is expected to come out very shortly too. SBH just finishing that up. So.
I think that's one of our oldest wells. Well,
Yes. Well, one is the oldest one.
I remember campaigning around it 26 years ago.
Okay, anything else? No? Okay, can I have a motion then to receive the reports? Sample by Councilor Wagner. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and next item is a bylaw authorizing the clerk and myself to enter into an agreement with the Township of ESSA to act as the joint processing center for automated speed enforcement administrative penalties within the town of Shelburne. Jennifer, did you want to give us a quick rundown of this?
To your worship, so as noted in my report of March 10th, there was the next steps page in there. This is one of those next steps towards progression of implementation of the project.
Any questions on that one? Councillor Sample?
Not so much a question on your report. Is there, so when it goes in, it's just a question to understand, to make sure everybody else out there understands. They're set for 40 kilometers an hour if you're in a 40 zone, or it's 40 kilometers an hour. What happens if you're going 41 kilometers an hour?
So you're questioning what the speed threshold is?
Yes.
So unfortunately, the speed threshold will not be, there is an industry standard, but that information will remain confidential.
So if you go 41, you pay $5.
Yes. Well, that's my question, because I'm in the industry of tires, and you can put an oversized tire on it, and you can throw your speedometer out of it, and it's gonna throw everything off.
I know.
So,
I know that, and it's the same thing when you take off from the stop sign, you, as soon as you hit the gas, the next thing you know, you're doing 41, and you slow back down to 40, meanwhile, you got a $5 ticket.
well, just ask me, 'cause
I had sent out an email a few weeks ago that had a frequently asked question sheet attached to there. And on there from Global, it's noted within our news press release as well, those frequently asked questions. But,
It's okay, I asked it too, but I did it in
Yeah.
an email.
it says our threshold speeds being disclosed, it says no, we do not disclose threshold speeds. Speed limits are not guidelines, they are the law.
Yeah.
Driving at or below the posted limit will ensure a ticket is not issued.
I think at the last
And that's
meeting,
the reply
I
I got as well.
admitted that I received a ticket, and it was
Yes.
11 kilometers over the posted limit.
Well, but
so
I
that's
can
within the
understand, I can
threshold.
understand 11 kilometers, but.
But you want to know if it's 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Right, because
Or
you could
5.
be doing 38 kilometers an hour according to your car, but your car is not doing that, it could be 42 kilometers an hour because of the size of tires on your vehicle.
Yeah.
Between the 17 and the 20 inch that you're allowed to put on, right? So, it does fluctuate, so I'm only asking, so. Make sure I go 35.
Yeah.
So the thing to do then is to put the undersized tires on, because then you're doing less than more.
I made sure I mentioned that to Jeff as well.
Yes,
So, and again, just to build on what Jennifer said,
yes.
but I think what we've mentioned repeatedly through this initiative is that our goal is not about making money.
Yeah.
Our goal is to slow the speed of traffic in this community down. So if you are aware of that, then you should drive according to what the goal of this project is.
Yes.
So the safest thing is to do the speed limit, and you'll almost guarantee that you will be ticketless.
I like the people that were passing down Main Street, that was coming into town today.
They were,
They were doing well over the speed limit. Well over. They went zooming by.
Okay, can I have a mover and seconder then for the reading and enacting of bylaw 15-2025? By Councilor Bernardo, second by Councilor Sim. All in favor? Carried. All right. Okay, any notices of motion? Great. Anything from the communications list? Councilor Fegan?
Number 4.
I thought you might hold on. Go ahead.
Okay, so what this is a letter from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority. At our last meeting, we were informed that the members of Oro Medante had triggered a resolution proposing an amalgamation of the NVCA and Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority. Long conversation with the board, just highlights essentially where it came down to was the board did not agree with the idea of the amalgamation. Mainly because there were no studies done to support the idea that the amalgamation will assist in the planning issues that we're experiencing, the timelines, and everything else. Personally, and the reason why I want to bring this forward is because I'd like us as a council to support this motion that the board made to unanimously deny this, essentially saying that there were no studies done. Not only that, biggest thought that I personally have, we're already a small fish in a big pond as far as our conservation authority goes. We're essentially at the end of our watershed, and a lot of people will see that as that's potentially we are the last man on the totem pole as far as planning and everything else goes. Now, let me assure you that is not the case. However, my concern being that if we amalgamate the NBCA with a larger conservation authority such as Simcoe Region, us being a small fish, might as well be a minnow. We will have no say whatsoever in the direction. NBCA right now focuses on what our watershed needs locally for every municipality that's involved with it. Lake Simcoe has a very, very different focus than the NBCA does. I do not see us amalgamating being beneficial to this town whatsoever.
As a former chair of the NBCA and have been on the NBCA for a long time, we are a different watershed completely from the NBCA. The NBCA works on, the Lake Simcoe works under the Lake Simcoe Act, which is a totally different focus in regards to what it does. And we would come under the Lake Simcoe Act well if we were to amalgamate. And our watershed has nothing to do with Lake Simcoe at all. And basically, as a watershed, we would not have the same focus from their board, from their membership, and money-wise is what we currently enjoy as the Nottawasaga. Oro Medonte, I'll be honest with you, was a thorn in my side when I was chair. They've been a thorn period throughout all our time as a board. They are somewhat different up there than the rest of us in the watershed, and not just being brutally honest. And they have a different thought because they also have a different. It's not a conservation authority; it's a that they deal with further north of them. Yeah, they started out as a cleanup association and turned themselves into something a little different. But Oro Medonte anyway pays money into 3 different organizations, and that's why they are the way they are. And they also, Lake Simcoe operates a little different than Nottawasaga. Nottawasaga operates where we pay for capital costs and operating costs. Lake Simcoe has big municipalities that pay into their capital costs and covers everything for them. So smaller municipalities, they give them the option of not paying or paying or whatever they want to do. So it's also a different financial system than what the Nottawasaga does. And as far as I'm concerned, I would say the same thing if I was sitting on the board as what Kyle has just said. We need to support this motion. We need to support the fact that we are not in favor of being anything to do with Lake Simcoe. As far as amalgamation goes, we want to retain our own individual identity and as a conservation authority and allow them to continue the good work they do. They will get over a hump. It's happened before in the past, and we do end up getting over those humps. And Oro Medonte, like I said, is just got the fish.
Okay, so Councilor Fegan, did you make a motion to support the resolution from NBCA?
Please, yes.
Councilor Bernardo, you want to second that?
I will.
And if we have that sent to all municipalities as well?
Can we drop our procedural bylaw on the floor on it tonight?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
It's
it's
communication.
Yeah. All municipalities, I think, that are a part of NBCA, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Actually copy the NBCA as well, I think.
And then it can be sent to the Minister of Conservation, Parks, and whatever else he's.
Yeah.
Environment conservation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any questions on that? All in favor? Okay, that's carried. All right, anything else from the communications list, Councilor Wagner?
I was kind of thinking of, number 8. It just kind of speaks towards, landlord tenant reforms. We're really seeing a lot of, direction to infill. And, I really think that the province needs to look at, sort of the rules and regulations and guidelines and things like that that are part of being a landlord and or being a tenant. Since 2020, we're really seeing a lot of issues with regards to landlord tenants. There are bad landlords, there's bad tenants, there's, delinquent payments, and, that's putting a hardship on, good landlords that are out there. But then there's also bad landlords that are, mistreating the system and having tenants that are having issues as well. So I think this sort of does speak to needing that reform, or at least needing that level of going in and looking and seeing what can be adjusted or, changed or whatnot, just to help both sides be a little bit better. I know I've had some personal family members and things like that that have dealt with this, and it is a nightmare. It multiple years before it was finally some resolution, and even then, they still don't have their money. Like they'll probably never get their money, but I mean tens of thousands, like not just a couple $100, like a lot, and multiple years. So I think there does need to be some maybe some new regulations or guidelines or help put in place for both sides.
Okay.
So yeah, I'd just like to support their motion.
Okay, so second to that motion, Councilor Sampson.
Actually, if I can speak on the motion. Sure. The Brampton, the mayor has issued licensing lately because of the fact it's not only bad tenants, but landlords that use multiple spacing and lack of spacing for the tenants to be in.
Yep.
And that's starting to become an issue as well.
It's like boarding houses, like
But
why,
basically,
yeah,
boarding houses springing up, and that can happen anywhere. Basically, where abuse, landlord can decide he wants to maximize his profit in a building, and we need to have ways to regulate that as well.
exactly, I completely agree.
Okay, all right, all in favor of the motion? That's carried. All right, anything else? We have a motion then to receive the remaining items as information. Councilor Donato, second by Councilor Sample. All in favor? Carried. All right, and a motion for the confirming bylaw. Councilor Fegan, second by Councilor Wagner.
Yeah, I'm getting in on that
All in favor?
one. You too, keep it.
Motion to adjourn. Councilor Sample, seconded by Councilor Donato. Favor. Carried.